Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we are doing lesson 73. I will there be light, and the correlating text, chapter 7, the gifts of the kingdom, section 9, the extension of the kingdom. As you all can see, we have a beautiful landscape behind us. We are at Mount Diablo State Park, and we decided to try and do an outdoor shoot this evening at the end of our work day. So thank you for joining us. Let us begin. Alex?
I will there be light. Today we are considering the will you share with God. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arise. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the same sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your belief can be very strong. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. They make nothing that is real.
All right, so what it wants us to do is to look at this will we share with God. And it's not the same as what we've been taught to think and believe. It has no correlation to any of that stuff. This is the will of God, and it is completely separate and different from that of the ego. Be willing, folks, to consider all of these things you've been taught and recognize that they are not of God, they are of man. Please continue.
Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world you see. The wishes of the ego gave rise to it, and the ego's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peoples it with figures that seem to attack you and call for righteous judgment. These figures become the middlemen the ego employs to traffic in grievances. They stand between your awareness of your brother's reality. Let me say that again. They stand between your awareness and your brother's reality. Beholding them, you do not know your brothers or yourself.
Absolutely. Our grievances color everything. Our judgments, our beliefs, they color everything we perceive. And they become our partners in crime, in a manner of speaking, because they are the co-creators with us in everything that we project on our brothers in the world around us. Continue, please.
Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering, in which guilt is traded back and forth, and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did God create disaster for his Son? Creation is the will of both together. Would God create a world that kills himself? Now, this is bringing something up for me here.
Yeah.
What happened today, driving on the freeway, driving home, where that guy went around me and threw up a hand gesture like this, and how I felt like flipping him off. And if I would have heeded that, the flipping him off is just one grievance being exchanged for another.
Absolutely.
Just like what was talking about in this.
Absolutely. That is a great example. Perfect. Excellent. Please continue.
Today we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. It is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. Darkness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light that shines upon this world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that we will look for it.
Yeah, so the whole thing for today is to try, as we have been learning to do, to reach that understanding within us that nothing has gone wrong. Everything is for our benefit, and that this is God's will for us to experience whatever it is we so choose to experience. That nothing is being done to us and nothing has happened to us. Everything is simply here for us to learn who we are within. And it's all here to help us understand who we are. Please continue.
Your picture of the world can only mirror what is within. The source of neither light nor darkness can be found without. Grievances darken your mind, and you look out on a darkened world. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will, and lets you look upon a world of light. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily passed and cannot stand between you and your salvation. The reason is very simple. Do you really want to be in hell? Do you really want to weep and suffer and die?
Wow. It's like I hear that and it makes me smile, because I understand that there's no way in Sam's fucking hell, people, that I would ever want to try and stay in a living nightmare of hell, crying and sobbing and screaming in pain and suffering. And I don't think anybody else would want that kind of existence either. Do you, honey?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, just to think of that idea, it's ludicrous and it's hilarious to even consider it.
Well, you know, it reminds me again how we were talking on the phone after that incident happened, and, you know, how even though I didn't react to those feelings that I had, that I don't like having those feelings at all in the first place.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody likes having them.
Because having those feelings is like being in a living hell.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, please continue.
Forget the ego's arguments, which seek to prove all this is really heaven. You know it is not so. You cannot want this for yourself. There is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness you really want. Such is your will and truth. And so salvation is your will as well. You want to succeed in what we are trying to do today. We undertake it with your blessing and your glad accord.
Basically, what it's asking us to do, folks, is to set aside, even for just a single moment, all of the arguments that come up within your mind that naysays everything that you're being told here, everything that we share with you. Just for a moment, set aside all those naysaying words and voices you're hearing that telling you that, oh, no, that can't be true and all that kind of shit. This is what it's asking you to do, is just to set all of that aside just for a moment and to give this just the tiniest bit of willingness to give it the benefit of the doubt that what it's saying is the truth. And that there is something to what it's saying to you here. That there is something to all of this. And there is a way through the darkness and the living nightmare and hell that you've been going through. But you got to be willing to set aside all that bullshit you've been taught to believe and to think. all that shit that your mind, your ego's playing in the back of your head going, oh, she's got to be full of fucking shit. No, there's no way in hell this could be saying what it's saying. Seriously. Just give it a chance. You'll be grateful and thankful that you do. Please continue.
We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. You have no will that can really oppose it, and you do not want to do so. Salvation is for you. Above all else, you want the freedom to remember who you really are. Today it is the ego that stands powerless before your will. Your will is free, and nothing can prevail against it.
And as I said, give it a chance, and you will truly be amazed at what that little amount of willingness enables you to be able to do, think, see, and understand. It will shed light on exactly what it is you have been doing. Just give it a chance. Please continue.
Therefore, we undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that we will find what is your will to find, and remember what it is your will to remember. No idle wishes can detain us, nor deceive us with an illusion of strength. Today let your will be done, and end forever the insane belief that it is hell in place of heaven that you choose.
Exactly. So, as you let go and you do this work, you are going to find that you're handing over the nightmare for happiness and joy. Want me to read? Would you like me to read?
Whatever you want.
Okay. 9. We will begin our longer practice periods with the recognition that God's plan for salvation, and only His, is wholly in accord with your will. It is not the purpose of an alien power thrust upon you unwillingly. It is the one purpose here on which you and your Father are in perfect accord. You will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the Son of God from hell and from all idle wishes. He is willing this very day to look upon the light in Him and be saved. So, recognize, folks, that it's all you. It is the willpower you put forth to choose what it is you want to do here. That is what is going to save your ass. It is what you choose. May I continue?
Yes.
After reminding yourself of this and determining to keep your will clearly in mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty, I will there be light. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will and mine. Then let your will assert itself, joined with the power of God and united with yourself. Put the rest of the practice period under their jurisdiction. Their guidance. Same thing for me. So put the rest of the practice period under their guidance. Join with them as they lead the way. In the shorter practice periods, again make a declaration of what you really want. Say, I will there be light. Darkness is not my will. This should be repeated several times an hour It is most important, however, to apply today's idea in this form immediately. You are tempted to hold a grievance of any kind. This will help you let your grievances go instead of cherishing them and hiding them in darkness.
And on that note, I'd like to say, will there be light, because we're running out of it, and
we're going to continue this at home.
This video is getting darker and darker, and we may be doing it in night shot mode. We might as well finish here, and if it doesn't turn out, we can try it at home as well.
Okay. Well, then let's continue on. We're doing section 9, the extension of the kingdom of chapter 7. And we're going to read through this quickly, folks, okay? Because we don't have flashlights and we got gear to pack. All right. Do you want me to begin?
Yeah. If you want, you can read the whole thing. You tend to read faster than me anyways.
Okay, sure thing.
All right.
If you feel need to interject, please do.
Okay.
All right. Chapter 7, the gifts of the kingdom. Section 9, the extension of the kingdom. 1. Only you can limit your creative power, but God wills to release it. He no more wills you to deprive yourself or your creations than he wills to deprive himself of his. Do not withhold your gifts to the sonship, or you withhold yourself from God. Selfishness is of the ego, but self-fullness is of spirit, because that is how God created it. The Holy Spirit is in the part of the mind that lies between the ego and the spirit, meditating between them always in favor of the spirit. To the ego, this is partiality, and it responds as if it were being sided against. To spirit, this is truth, because it knows its fullness cannot conceive of any part from which it is excluded. Spirit knows that the awareness of all its brothers is included in its own, as it is included in God. The power of the whole sonship and of its creator is therefore Spirit's own fullness, rendering its creations equally whole and equal in perfection. The ego cannot prevail against a totality that includes God, and any ego cannot prevail, and any totality must include God. Everything he created is given all his power because it is part of him and shares his being with him. Creating is the opposite of loss, as blessing is the opposite of sacrifice. Being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. Spirit yearns to share its being as its creator did. Created by sharing, its will is to create. It does not wish to contain God, but wills to extend his being. So what those are talking about, folks, is that you have unlimited willpower and you are the one that is able to do anything. It is you so choose. And God wills for you to have full will and full willpower in everything you choose to be and do. No one can choose any of that for you. And everything that he has created, he has given you the power of creation to be too. All right, let's move on. I'm going to move through this very quickly, okay? 3. The extension of God's being is Spirit's only function. Its fullness cannot be contained any more than can the fullness of its creator. Fullness is extension. The ego's whole thought system blocks extension and thus blocks your only function. It therefore blocks your joy so that you perceive yourself as unfulfilled. Unless you create, you are unfulfilled, but God does not know unfulfillment, and therefore you must create. You may not know your own creations, but this can no more interfere with their reality than your unawareness of your spirit can interfere with its keeping. So what it's talking about there, folks, is that you are fully responsible for everything you create. So everything you think, believe, say, and do, you're responsible for. You're manifesting it, you're responsible for it. 4. The kingdom is forever extending because it is in the mind of God. You do not know your joy because you do not know your own selffulness. Exclude any part of the kingdom from yourself and you are not whole. A split mind cannot perceive its fullness and needs the miracle of its wholeness to draw upon it and heal it. This reawakens the wholeness in it and restores it to the kingdom because of its acceptance of wholeness. The full appreciation of the mind's selffulness makes selfishness impossible and extension inevitable. This is why there is perfect peace in the kingdom. Spirit is fulfilling its function and only complete fulfillment is peace. So what that's talking about there, folks, is that you have to see everyone as your equal, as no different from you. Recognize that they think and do things just the same as you. They were trained and taught just the same as you. So they are making the same choices to do the same things you have chosen to do. Only you are now choosing to correct them where they have not. And in this way, as you learn these corrections, you extend it. But you have to let go all that crap you were thinking and believing. You have to do the work and look within to do so. And you cannot do it with the split mind. You have to let that shit go. All right, moving on. 5. Your creations are protected for you because the Holy Spirit, who is in your mind, knows of them and can bring them into your awareness whenever you will let him. They are there as part of your own being because your fulfillment includes them. The creations of every son of God are yours, since every creation belongs to everyone, being created for the sonship as a whole. 6. You have not failed to increase the inheritance of the sons of God, and thus have not failed to secure it for yourself. Since it was the will of God to give it to you, he gave it forever. Since it was his will that you have it forever, he gave you the means for keeping it. And you have done so. Disobeying God's will is meaningful only to the insane. In truth, it is impossible. Your self-fullness is as boundless as God's. Like his, it extends forever and in perfect peace. Its radiance is so intense that it creates in perfect joy, and only the whole can be born of its wholeness. 7. Be confident that you have never lost your identity and the extensions which maintain it in wholeness and peace. Miracles are an expression of this confidence. They are reflections of both your proper identification with your brothers and of your awareness that your identification is maintained by extension. The miracle is a lesson in total perception. By including any part of totality in the lesson, you have included the whole. All right, that was Chapter 7, The Gifts of the Kingdom, Section 9, The Extensions of the Kingdom, and Lesson 73, I Will There Be Light. Do the work, folks. Please do the work. That last part there, what it's talking about is that everything has been saved within you. It's been held within you. It's never been outside of you. All you need to do is turn within and ask for it. Ask and you shall receive. But you have to ask. All the questions are being given here to you. All the things to ask and to put forth. Do the work. Thank you for joining us today or this evening. My name is Sabrina Reyenga.
And I am Alex Reyenga.
Hugs, love, light, and blessings on your journey, brothers. We love you. Be the light you are meant to be.